Welcome back, you guys. This is your stimulus package update. This is your second stimulus check update for Friday, July the 31st. Happy Friday, you guys. Hey, we've made it through another week. Several things I want to cover with you guys today. Number one, I want to go over the updates related to the details in this new $1,000 stimulus check proposal that just came out. We're going to go over the unemployment benefits. They officially expire tonight. I want to go over what's going on with that in terms of the additional 1 week extension that's been recently proposed regarding the unemployment benefits. The Fed keeping interest rates at zero and how that's impacting mortgage rates, as well as creating opportunities for yourself. And the one financial strategy that I'm going to be implementing, and I'm going to share that with you guys because some of you guys are going to be able to take advantage of the same opportunity. We're going through a very, very tough time, and I think we're going to have to really get creative with this because Congress is really not working with us, in my opinion. For those of you guys who are brand new to my channel, my name is Ron. This is a personal finance channel. We cover all things personal finance, investing, how to make more money, and how to generate multiple streams of income. So if you're interested in any of that, do me a favor, smash the like button and let's get into it. So the very first thing we're going to get into today is the details on the brand new $1,000 stimulus check proposal. This came out just this week from 4 different Senate Republicans, and this bill was introduced at $1,000 per adult and for children as well. And so basically, Bill Cassidy, U.S. Senators Bill Cassidy, Steve Daines, Mitt Romney, and Marco Rubio, they came together and they put this brand new stimulus proposal together. And basically, it would be $1,000 for adults and for children. And so basically, the example that they've used is, for a family of 4, you could qualify for getting $4,000 in stimulus money. Now, what I thought was very, very interesting about this one is that there was no mention of limitations to the number of children that you could have in order to qualify for this. So I'm just saying, if you have 6 kids and you're married, does that mean that you could potentially get $8,000 in stimulus money? I mean, I'm waiting to see more details on this. But that's what we've got so far regarding that new stimulus plan. Now, granted, at $1,000, that's $200 less than the stimulus check that was listed in the CARES Act, in the HEROES Act, and in the brand new HEALS Act. However, depending upon the size of the family, it could potentially be more beneficial should it actually go through. Again, it's just a proposal, but I wanted to share it with you guys because this is brand new. Things are not moving quickly at all, but at least conversations are now being had. Things were quiet for several weeks with the previous recess. I'm trying to be optimistic here, but so basically what we're looking at is $1,000 for eligible children versus the $500 for eligible children through the HEALS Act and through the CARES Act. So it's technically $600 more per child. So essentially those with more children, they're going to find this more beneficial than anyone else. The same limitations on income eligibility applies. So basically, if you are married and you guys are filing jointly, as long as you receive or as long as you earn $150,000 or less on a joint tax return, then you would be eligible for the full amount. Now, if you're single and you're earning less than $75,000 per year, then you would qualify for the full stimulus check benefit. Now, I haven't heard at this point if either party is really on board with this idea, but it was a brand new proposal. Definitely wanted to share this with you guys. But, in terms of the Senate or the House, how are they feeling about this proposal? We don't know yet. And while we're on the topic of stimulus checks, back in June, the IRS officials told the GAO, and the GAO is the Government Accountability Office. And back in June, they indicated that up to 365,000 low-income people did not receive their stimulus checks for their dependent children. Now, if you guys remember, the dependent children were supposed to be paying out $500 per dependent. Now, unfortunately, the IRS missed a lot of people. According to this report, 365,000 people were missed out entirely. And the majority of these people were low-income families. Now, what had happened with this was the low-income earners received their stimulus check. However, because they were not required to file, the IRS didn't know about their dependents. And unfortunately, the IRS didn't look out for anyone. And 48 hours before they needed all of this information, they sent out some, notification. I don't even know how they sent it out, but they sent out some notification 48 hours before they needed this information. And apparently everyone was supposed to find out about this, jump on their website, use their non-filer tool to fill out the information so that they could figure out, okay, out of these low income earners that normally don't file taxes, how many of these guys have dependents that are eligible for this extra $500? So long story short, most people never found out about it. And the IRS got called out about this problem that was essentially their fault. And the IRS told the GAO that they're working to identify these accounts to make these adjustments. And they said that they were going to do their best to get payments out for the dependent children by the end of July. So here we are, July 31st. I definitely thought I would bring this up because we have a pretty big community here, and I always say this, guys, I really appreciate you guys, checking out the videos. So I want to ask you guys a favor. If you guys have received an extra $500 from the IRS for your dependents recently during the month of July, drop me a comment down below. I would love to know how many of you guys have actually received this promised extra $500 from the IRS for your dependents, because I have been doing as much research as I can, and I have not found any information in terms of, did the IRS actually hold up to their promise in terms of getting the $500 stimulus checks out for the dependents or not? So I'm depending on you guys. If you guys have received anything, we've got 80,000 subscribers on here. Drop me a comment down below. I'd love to know if you got your extra $500. Next, unemployment insurance benefits. So the federal unemployment insurance benefits are set to expire today. Now, as we discussed in previous videos, the $600 federal unemployment benefits technically expired for states, based on their payment cycles as of this past weekend, but officially it expires today. Now, yesterday, White House officials actually offered a 1-week extension proposed for the $600 federal unemployment benefits. Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi shot this down. Basically, she says, hey, this is not going to cut it. The Democrats, at the House of Representatives, they're not up for these piecemeal, as they call it, these piecemeal offers. They're looking for a full-fledged, all-inclusive bill that is actually going to fully address these problems, and not just, hey, we'll touch, hey, we'll fix this issue, or hey, we'll provide funding for these issues here and there. It looks like the House, at least from the Democratic standpoint, they're not up for these little, onesie twosie types of offers. They're looking for a full-fledged bill. Even Chuck Schumer said just yesterday, we had a long discussion and we don't think that they understand the gravity of the problem. And, I don't know if you guys have realized it, but 10 whole weeks, that's 2.5 months, have passed already since the House Democrats have passed the $3 trillion HEROES Act in May. Had the Senate come through and pass that bill, we would have had the $600 unemployment benefits extended right now. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. So, as far as I'm concerned, the HEROES Act is pretty much just like Mitch McConnell said, it's dead on arrival. They didn't deny it, but they didn't even vote on it. So it's pretty much, it just died. So here we are. We've got the rent moratorium, which has just expired last week. We've got the federal unemployment insurance benefits, which we're paying $600 per week. That has just expired officially today, but your last paychecks probably came this past weekend. And, thankfully, state benefits for unemployment are still being paid out, but this is minuscule compared to the $600 per week unemployment insurance benefits that many of you guys were receiving. So where are we right now? So basically, Senate Republicans have proposed a brand new bill. As of Monday, Mitch McConnell came out and he brought out the HEALS Act. So there's no more talk about this HEROES Act unofficially. They've now presented this brand new offer, this brand new bill. They're calling it the HEALS Act. It's around $1 trillion. And basically their plan is to reduce the weekly unemployment insurance benefits drastically down to $200 per week until until states figure out a way to replace 70% of a person's wages. Now, again, this was a Senate proposed brand new bill, but not all of the Senate's on board. So just yesterday, Republican Senator Mitt Romney and Susan Collins, they proposed an alternate that would basically allow two options for states. Basically, to provide extra payments of $500 per week in August, to provide $400 per week in the month of September, and $300 a week for the month of October. Now, the alternative to this option would be to offer a total benefits package that replaces 80% of wages. So that's a brand new proposal that's being offered by Mitt Romney and Susan Collins. We'll see what happens with that. I always want to share with you guys the latest that's going on. That's the latest proposal that we've heard in terms of the federal unemployment benefits. The Fed's doing their part. You know, they're keeping interest rates at zero. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure how much more the Fed can do at this point. But according to the Fed, only more spending can provide the economic boost that we need. And Congress has to act before its August 7th recess. So, you know, here we are, just July 31st. We've got another week before Congress goes on recess again. Technically, they can delay or just entirely cancel their recess. But for now, recess is scheduled for the 7th. So, you know, we're getting down to the wire here. Major benefits have expired and, you know, we still don't have any directive. We don't have any clear plan or action plan from Congress in terms of what we're going to do financially to help out the people. On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee said the ongoing public health crisis will weigh heavily on economic activity in the near term and poses significant risks to the economic outlook over the medium term. As a result, the Fed will leave interest rates at effectively zero until it's confident that the economy is on track. So federal interest rates being at zero has benefited the housing market, in my opinion, and it has clearly been helped or assisted thanks to the recent CARES Act. In the CARES Act, there was mortgage forbearance in there. There was a mortgage moratorium in there. And so there's a number of things that prevented foreclosures from beginning. And so housing prices pretty much maintain where they were. And in many parts of the country, they've actually gone up. Now, with interest rates being at zero from the Fed, that caused mortgage rates to be a little bit more competitive. And so what we're seeing here in different pockets of the country, we're seeing actually not only are home values pretty much staying where they are, but in many cases, due to low housing inventories, that the property values are actually going up. So that's what we're seeing here. That asset class is actually moving up. The stock market is actually moving up. Federal Reserve Jerome Powell made the Fed stance even more clear by saying, we're not even thinking about raising rates. And earlier in the week, the Fed extended 7 of the extraordinary lending facilities through at least till the end of 2020. And again, reflecting their concern about the economic fragility and uncertainty. So with all that being said, what I've decided to do personally, and I'm just sharing this with you guys because you guys are my community. I don't know how many of you guys are going to be able to directly benefit from this. However, you know, it's a strategy that I've personally decided to implement. And if you guys, you know, can take advantage of it, maybe you do, maybe at least think about it. It's entirely up to you. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to refinance my house. And the reason why I decided to refinance my house is given the fact that, you know, I've got equity in the property, the housing market prices have remained where they were, interest rates have dropped. And so basically, you know, my interest rate was like, I think it was like 4.25%. I'm going to be dropping down to about 2.875%. I think that's what I got quoted. I don't have my numbers with me, but anyway, so I'm going to pull out about $50,000 in equity from the property, and my mortgage payment is actually going to go down by about $10. So I don't know how many of you guys are in that same situation where, you know, given what your current insurance or your current mortgage interest rate is compared to what you could refinance it out to be, creates that same situation. But that's what it did for me. That's a personal decision that I made. And so what that does for me is it gives me, you know, the ability to increase my liquidity. So basically I'll be able to just put 50K, you know, into a safe investment. And so that way, that money is sitting there in case I need it, or in case I find a really good opportunity to invest it. Now, I think there's a good possibility that, maybe in the next year, maybe longer, housing prices will decline. Now, we don't personally plan on selling this house anytime soon. We don't plan on moving. So for me, it worked out. And like I said, I could not take the money out and continue to pay the current mortgage, or I could pull $50K out, have a lower interest rate, and pay the exact same mortgage minus $10. It'll actually be a $10 cheaper mortgage payment. So it's kind of like, it's almost silly for me not to, because if I don't, I'm literally paying the exact same amount. And let's say hypothetically, I change my mind, I would decide to sell the house in a year. I've already done the math. As long as I stay in the house for an extra 18 months from the date that we close on the refinance, then literally all of the savings covered the cost of the actual refinance. So literally, it just seems like a smart move to make. I don't know how many of you guys fall into the same situation where I am, where you could refinance. Many of you guys, if you're still working, you could possibly be able to do that. So by making this financial choice, this not only increases my liquidity, but it opens the door for me to take advantage of any opportunity, investment wise, that I discover after the refinance. So if housing values crash, then I could technically use that $50K that's just sitting there to go and purchase an investment property. It could also be used to cover expenses if, things got really bad. So, I think that it's a good, fairly defensive strategy that's not very, very aggressive, that I feel like a lot of people could take advantage of. Now, you don't have to pull cash out. You could actually just refinance your house and lower your mortgage payment. Now, if I had done that, my mortgage payment would probably have dropped by about $250 per month. So, in my opinion, I felt like, just gaining access to the cash was a better strategy for me. To each his own. I just figured I'd share this opportunity with you guys. It's all about, being aware, keeping your eyes open, and thinking about opportunities. Even if the opportunity doesn't open up necessarily for you immediately, you want to make sure that you're in position so that when opportunities do open, you can take advantage of it. The other thing I was going to say is, I experienced the 2008 recession, and it was very, very painful for a lot of people. And during that time, I had a lot of different credit cards. And, when I was growing up, I was always told, oh, you want to keep credit cards because you can rely on them in case of emergencies. Well, I want to tell you guys something. When 2008 happened, all of my credit lines got cut. And so I couldn't rely on my credit cards to save me in my time of need, because basically all those banks were scared and they were cutting all the credit lines. So I say all this to say that's another one of the reasons why I decided to refinance the house, because credit lines can get cut at any point in time. If you refinanced your house, let's just say hypothetically you had a line of credit and you're leaning on your line of credit from your house to cover you during an emergency. If the bank happens to say, oh, we're scared, they can literally just cut your credit line. And so you might have had, I don't know, $10, $20, $50,000, $100,000 available in a line of credit off of your real estate. But, there's no guarantee that it's going to be there when you needed it. So the way I see it is, for no additional monthly charge, I can literally just refinance and lock in $50K while still leaving 25% equity in the property after pulling the cash out. So for me, I think it works out well. You guys have to look at your own situations. I hope that you guys got some value out of this video. I just want to, spread financial awareness, hopefully inspire people to think outside the box just a little bit. I'll continue to drop nuggets here and there and share whatever I feel like is helpful for the community. If you guys are getting any value out of these videos, smash the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions for me, drop me a comment below. I love to read the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one.